one.
All right, we're back. Courtside Idiots. Kind of getting back into routine, guys. I'm very proud of us. This is like 3 times in a row we've done it on a 2-week basis. Incredibly proud. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And it's the right time for us to get right because we've got Super Bowl coming up. Championship weekend just happened. 2 great games. And I'm stoked for the Super Bowl. So we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about our NBA awards through a quarter of the season. And then we're only 46 days away from Selection Sunday, which is kind of crazy. So College Hoops Final Four. I'd love to hear you guys have in, a.k.a. who's your 4th team after Gonzaga, Baylor, and Michigan. Very excited to hear about that. But as always, we're getting started. If I were a betting man, I've got some Super Bowl specials for you guys. One of them's okay. The other 3, they get kind of gradually weirder as we go. First one, MVP bet. Jacob Harb, you're going to love this one. Tom Brady is plus 225. In my opinion, it's like a 50-50 shot that he wins, right? Because whoever wins game, it's going to be the quarterback. So what do you guys feel, Tom Brady plus 225?
I mean, if we're thinking the Bucs win the Super Bowl, then I like those odds. That's all I got to say. I mean, it's one of the 2, right?
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes won last year despite the fact that Damian Williams was clearly the MVP of the game. So it's really just become the quarterback out of the winning team award, with a few exceptions. I know Edelman took one from Brady in New England, and Von Miller had one. But
do we think Scotty Miller could pull out Edelman?
No, I do not think that.
Never know.
But I like where your head's at, though. I like where your head's at. But Tom Brady plus 225, I'm thinking, is a pretty good line, especially because Mahomes is like minus 105, so it's a pretty big jump.
I'm taking that bet. I mean, we know I'm taking it.
I like that bet. I also I think Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce are getting plus
1,000 for
1,000 or something.
Tyreek plus 1,000. What Kelce was 1,500.
Yeah, I believe it was 14 right now. It might have moved a little bit, but
hey, I mean,
I think
2 touchdowns.
I just think they're going to give it to Mahomes anyway. Damian Williams had 3 touchdowns last year. Still went to Mahomes.
I agree that if it goes to anybody, it goes to a quarterback. It happens every year. But I do think if there are players who could sneaky come in, win that, I think it would be a Tyreek Hill or a Travis Kelce that just is like a monster game.
I think that those 2 as well.
Definitely possible. All right, well, I like that. The next one, again, we're going to get kind of gradually more random bets as we go because Super Bowl, they have thousands of bets available. This one is for first quarter touchdowns. The line is 1.5 first quarter touchdowns, and over 1.5 is plus 125. You're getting plus odds for that. I'm loving that line. I think there's definitely going to be 2 touchdowns.
That's a great line. Even though I will say that both defenses kind of played a lot better than I thought they would the championship Sunday. I still think that this is probably going to be a higher scoring game, so I like that.
They're both big play offenses. They both get off to big starts in the first quarter and first half. I really think that is a tempting line to go for.
I feel like whoever has the ball first is going to score a touchdown off the rip, and then you can equalize that with a field goal. Whoever gets the ball next, but I still feel like there's going to be. I mean, you gotta think there's going to be 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, but it's still 1.5 is hard. But I like that for the first quarter for the start of that game. I feel like really whoever gets the ball first is going to score, regardless of if it's the Bucs or the.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. All right, next one. Weirder we go. This one is either team will attempt a 2-point conversion. I'm saying yes. It's minus 135. It's minus 135, so it's not a huge return, but I think just the way the analytics has been going, I think some team is bound to go for 2 in the Super Bowl. I feel like it's every game now. You see at least one attempted 2-point conversion. We saw at least 2, if not 3 yesterday on Championship Sunday. So
Mahomes will do that shuffle pass, little underhand rugby thing to Kelce for a 2-point conversion that he does for the touchdowns or something. Big play.
I don't think you understand how rugby works, but yeah.
Rugby, I don't even have to.
Yeah, but it's all behind you. every pass is behind.
Here's a little technicality. It's okay. All that matters here, they don't even have to convert it. They have to even attempt one. I'm saying that's a beautiful line. And my last one, I think you guys will appreciate this. It's no secret we are a good Christian boy podcast most of the time. They have a whole series of bets for what the MVP will mention first in his speech.
Oh.
God and Jesus is plus 200. It's plus 200, and I love that.
I feel like
not gonna mention that.
I would say Brady.
No.
Dude, they talk about his fan.
No, if Mahomes wins, I love God versus Jesus. The other ones that are up there are family, but also and family is actually like plus 550, by the way. But it has to be the first thing they mention. Teammates and coaches are also going to be up there.
Oh my gosh, that's easy.
Fans.
Family Brady.
Oh.
Family
What about
Brady. Oh my gosh.
He loves kissing his sons. He ain't got...
Okay, but what about the
chemistry?
Hear me out here. They're playing in Tampa. There will be a slight home field advantage for what you want to call it. It's going to be all, I think, healthcare workers, I believe, is the idea.
And just home field. Yeah.
But so you would assume at least, healthcare workers from Tampa are probably going to go to the game, at least a lot of them. So fans, I feel like, could be up there as
fans
one of the
is
things.
actually listed as an other. It's not even its own category.
Wow.
Yeah, there's no chance.
No, they don't mention the fans first.
They mention them, but that's usually like the last thing.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank the great fans.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Gotta be fan. Gotta be. It's gotta be.
I like the thought, Ruby. I do. But I think with all it's still going to be spaced out, limited capacity. I feel like there would be a better chance if it was definitely like a sold out show. And you were at home. And I'd like
if it were like a normal year.
Oh, it's real.
I think that fans definitely is at least its own category.
Debating right now. What's the debate?
Oh,
It's a great prop. It's a great prop. It's all right. We are going to move on. We are going to move on. And you know what's next? Something I forgot to mention before the show started, but do have written down here in the book. It's the Angry Ruby Fight Minute, folks. We've got McGregor versus Poirier. So, Angry Ruby, let it rip.
All right, so on Saturday there was the UFC 257. It was Daniel Poirier versus Conor McGregor. It was a rematch of a fight they had 6 years ago. And in that fight 6 years ago, McGregor won as a technical knockout. And this time it went differently. McGregor got knocked out as a minus 300 favorite. So a lot of people lost money. But it was really fun, exciting night. He got knocked out in the second round. It was clear that Conor was not fully back into UFC kind of like shape. He just didn't have a lot of the kicking and a lot of the other aspects down, but he still boxed very well for the amount of time. I think after the fight, he said that his calf kind of failed him just because he kept getting leg kicked by Poirier. Super exciting for Poirier. He's been kind of around, but never like the guy. So it's kind of fun to see him, beat the guy. And he's does a lot for charity, does a lot to help his community in Lafayette. So fun night. The next big group of fights is March 6th. Israel Adesanya is fighting, and I think 2 other title fights of that night as well. So that's something to look out for.
Awesome, Ruby. Thanks. I think the real question is, did you pay for the fight, or is Dana White coming to kill you?
I paid for the fight.
Oh, he paid for the fight. I sensed hesitation there. I
can show you the receipt, but also I made it back from Bovada. So
I just think, you know what? guy. Honestly, last fight.
Definitely not his last fight. He's gonna be around for a little bit.
Fighting Khabib or what?
No, he won't fight Khabib now.
Khabib retired.
Did
So
Khabib come at him or something? Say something to him?
yeah,
Didn't McGregor address that in
So-
the press conference?
so Khabib fought McGregor in 2018, and Khabib won. And then after the fight, jumped over the octagon and started punching the trainers in like Conor McGregor's corner. It was a big thing. And then after the fight, there were, obviously like words and stuff exchanged. But Khabib retired in November, and I think that one's like a actual retirement. He might come out because he's 29-0 right now. And so the thought would be if he wanted to make it 30-0, he might come out of retirement, but he'd probably come out to fight the co-main event for this fight, which was Chandler.
Also called out Khabib after his
Who
fight.
did call out Khabib and was really impressive because he's a old school wrestler. Went to I think Minnesota and was like on their wrestling team, and then won the other night with his boxing, and pretty convincingly with his boxing. So
There you
All right. Well, there's our UFC Fight Minute, courtesy of
Thank you.
Ruby.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
All right. So we're going to move to something we can all talk about a little bit more. Super Bowl. Wow. Very exciting. Honestly, first off, tip of the cap to the NFL. They made it all the way here without canceling a single game, which is unreal that they were able to do that. So good for them. So I've got several things lined up for you guys. Obviously, I want to know who you guys think want to win, or who you think is going to win. But I also want to know who you got for the spread right now. Line is Chiefs -3. I want to hear what you got for the over/under. It's 56.5. I want to hear who you got for the MVP. And then I want to hear what your matchup to watch is for the game. But we'll start with some outright winners and the spread. So again, spread is Chiefs -3 or Bucks +3. Your call there. And then we've got winner outright. So Jacob Howard, what's your prediction?
All right. I will go. Chiefs by. So sorry.
Chiefs by
I had
touchdown.
someone come into the. Got distracted. Yeah, I got Chiefs by a touchdown. Their defense game, and considering that D corner for Chiefs and D corner Giants, I can see perfect season. Blitz them a lot. Will
Beautiful.
say the interesting part is if they're going if their tackles factor in this. But I think Kelsey's gonna think because of Hill, how great Tyreek Hill played last time versus the last match. Focus more on.
Love it.
Tackles being out.
Yep, no,
for
I'm-
the Chiefs.
Yeah. Definitely.
That could change a lot about how the game goes. I mean, that left tackle, but Fisher, the first overall pick, Pro Bowler. That's his
No,
last
so-
name.
I got him being the spread. I got
Yeah,
Chiefs.
Fisher. Eric Fisher. No, that's definitely that. I'll jump the gun a little bit. That was gonna be a matchup to watch. The Bucks front has been stellar in the playoffs. Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaq Barrett both wreaked havoc on a pretty good Packers O-line.
5 sacks.
Vita Vea is back and healthy. Vita Vea is back and healthy, and he just eats blocks up. So then you got Devin White going downhill. You got Levante David going downhill. Their front seven is legit. And so that's gonna be something to look at against the Chiefs O-line. But at the end of the day, the Bucks allow the most touchdowns in the league when blitzing, which I think is something that's very interesting. Their corners kind of get burned when they're left on an island against guys, and now you got Kelsey and Hill and Hardman to go up against. So that'll be definitely something to look at. But I'm going to go Chiefs outright, but I'm actually going to take Bucks +3. I think this is going to be an unbelievably close game, and I really like the Bucks to cover here, but I think the Chiefs are going to win by by 2 or 3. So, Jacob Harb, what are you seeing?
I've got to be outnumbered here. I mean, right? I mean, Patriots fan that's now converting for a game or two to be a Bucks fan. I mean, I'm taking Bucks spread, of course, but I mean Bucks outright. I mean, no question. Tom Brady playing in the right now versus homies. I can go with a prediction too. I mean, I'll go Bucks 35, Chiefs 31. We can start that, which means I would be taking the under, right? You said 66 and a half.
I said 56.5.
56 and a half. I think it's 66. Oh, I'm taking the over then. Sorry, I thought you said 66. I take the over. No, I think it's going to be a shootout of a game. I think it's going to come down to a game-winning drive. And I could very well see Chiefs being up 31-28 with 3.5 minutes left and whatnot, making the game-winning touchdown. But I mean, I think it's going to be a shootout of a game. Both teams have key injuries, like you said. The Chiefs have those 2 tackles out, and then right now, as we speak, the Bucks have the 2 safeties out. One who was injured before the game, one who got injured during the game. So I think that could play a big factor in some plays from Hill and Kelsey. But I think if they can get Antonio Brown back as well, that would help a lot, free up a lot of plays for Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Hopefully they can get Cameron Brate and Rob Gronkowski involved. But I like the Bucks in this matchup. I think Brady gets revenge on Mahomes, and I'm taking the Bucks.
I know we're all shocked by this news. Will, do you agree with your apartment mate?
The guy sitting to the right of me, I don't agree with him.
Wow.
Sadly. I'm going to take Chiefs -3. I think they win by a touchdown or even more. I just think, this team, they proved it on Sunday. They're just so, I'm not going to say unstoppable because then they're just going to lose Sunday. But I'll say they're really, really, really good. And they have a really, really, really good quarterback at the helm, but also it's Tom Brady. So I really want a good game, but I think Chiefs cover -3. Also, are we doing matchups? Because I just want to point out the matchup. Chiefs wideouts or wide receiver. No. It's the Bucks wideouts: Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, possibly Antonio Brown, against the Chiefs secondary. And Chiefs secondary is, they've been kind of off and on. They've allowed a lot of points. They've stopped a lot of people. I think this game is really the Chiefs secondary. If they can kind of withhold Tom Brady's wide receivers and their tight ends, this is going to be a tough game for Brady to win if this Chiefs secondary is kind of on their ish. So
hope not.
Of course, Jacob hopes not, but
Or the shirt. Sure.
But I think that's the matchup to watch for sure. But I think Chiefs will cover. Mahomes gets 2 straight, kind of edges himself in history.
Now, I like where you're at with that point about the Chiefs secondary. L'Jarius Sneed has been probably the best rookie corner in the league this year. Actually, I don't know if that's even a probably. He's been awesome. Bashad Breeland is back. He's good. I know he missed games earlier in the year because of suspension. He's been really solid. And then I think they have the best safety tandem in the league with Tyrann Mathieu and Juan Thornhill. Juan Thornhill had 4 pass breakups against the Bills yesterday, which is the most in a playoff game in like 15 years. I think that they're going to go 2 high safeties all game and make Brady throw it underneath, which the Bucks do not want to do. I think it's going to be very interesting to see. But I love that matchup. Ruby, I think you're our last prediction.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Chiefs outright and Chiefs against the spread. So I'm taking -3.5. I love the over, and maybe not because I think the over is gonna hit. I think that there's a good chance it hits, but I don't want to be sitting there Super Bowl Sunday and have bet the under. And it's all-time classic, 40 points by both teams, and I'm sitting there like bummed out because my bet lost. So I think that you go over, and then as far as like the actual game, I think there's one matchup that matters, and there's one thing that I'm sure you'll hear in the next 2 weeks ad nauseum is it's Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes. It's it's how the defenses play to stop those guys, but it's just like those are two of it looks like Patrick Mahomes is the next guy for the NFL for the next 15 years, and Tom Brady has been the guy for the past 20 years at this point. Crazy. So I think that that's the matchup that matters. That's the matchup we're talking about. And as far as who I think kind of gets the better of the other in the matchup, I'm gonna say it's gonna be Patrick Mahomes, just because if you look at their playoff seasons, if you Tom Brady and the Bucs as a whole have turned the ball over so much more than the Chiefs. The Chiefs have played very clean for their 2 games, but it just, with a team that's as explosive as the Chiefs are, you can't turn the ball over like the Bucs have been doing. And I don't think that it's just the ending of Tom Brady's career. I think he'll be around for a couple more years, but he's not Tom Brady of 2015 or whatever year won the MVP. He's still an incredible quarterback. He's still got them to the Super Bowl. But I think that at this point in their career, I think that Patrick Mahomes kind of gets the better of Tom Brady.
No, there definitely could be like a passing of the torch situation here if Mahomes does beat Brady, but it also could be Brady's great way to kind of wrap up by beating the guy who's supposed to be replacing him in the biggest stage. But to your point, I think
fire if he wants.
I think Brady feels the need. Hey, I maybe not, but I feel like Brady feels the need to go out on top. And while I'm sure he's supremely confident that he could get back there next year, and maybe he will try to. I know he has 1 more year left in his contract. I think he's such a competitor that he will want to finish with a Super Bowl victory. So if he wins, I'm not going to rule it out of the market. If he loses, he's definitely not going to retire. He's not going to let that be the way he goes out. But I don't know. To Ruby's point, though, I think Brady did honestly played kind of like trash in the second half of the game yesterday, but their defense was so good that it didn't matter. He got outdueled by Aaron Rodgers, and it wasn't even close, quite frankly, between the quarterback play. But his O-line did a great job, and his defense did a great job, so that's awesome. But Ruby was talking about turnovers. You can't turn the ball over against the Chiefs. Yes, an interesting stat I did read today though is that teams in the NFL win 43% of games when they are even turnovers or -1 turnovers from the other team. Tom Brady in the playoffs is 16-10 when his team is even or -1 in turnovers. Brady just wins games despite turnovers. I don't know how that works. Maybe it's a product of New England defenses, and he's got a great defense in Tampa. Maybe it's a product of he still ends up with the ball last, but he is obviously the GOAT for a reason. And so the fact that he wins games that no one else wins is kind of a testament to, yesterday they were -1 turnovers, didn't matter, they still won. And it got a little close there at the end, but really it was a pretty convincing win. So I don't know. I think Brady,
if you do look at the game yesterday, Tom Brady turned the ball over twice in 2 consecutive series. And the defense, the Bucs defense.
Another game.
I mean, he's done it multiple times this postseason, not in consecutive series, but I'm not saying that.
I mean, you just said. I asked if he could do it again in consecutive series. He hasn't done that, except for him.
No, but he's turned the ball over a lot in the postseason. But can I finish making my point?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I asked
okay.
a question and you answered it in the wrong way. So
yes, I answered it in the way that you didn't, agree with. So the point I'm trying to make is that where the Green Bay Packers weren't as effective on offense, I think that it's, pretty well documented that it's a lot harder to stop the Chiefs offense than it is the Packers offense. So
Yes.
If that same exact game happens, I think that the Chiefs, take advantage of that more than the Packers were able to.
Saying the Chiefs are better than the Packers. Wow.
So I have so if you're Todd Bowles, strategy versus blitzing a lot, you trying to blitz to expose the tackles, or you think
No.
with Shaq
No.
and
Heck
Jason
no.
Pierre-Paul?
Well, yeah.
Hey,
I know.
I'm answering.
I know.
You can. I feel like you can blitz.
But this-
with the tackles down, I feel like you could get a couple big plays in off the blitz if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing I read a second ago. The Bucs have allowed the most touchdowns in the league on passing plays when they've blitzed by a wide margin.
I know that, but the tackles.
So I'm just saying, well, no, but that's my point. With the tackles out, you've got JPP and Shaq Barrett on the outside. You don't need to blitz. I think they're going to be able to get pressure on the outside without blitzing.
Yeah.
The problem is Mahomes is elite at getting the ball out to McCall Hardman and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and letting them do something with on their hands, yards after catch. So I don't think they can really afford to blitz a ton. If I'm Todd Bowles, there's no way to stop the Chiefs, but at the same time, I'd be, playing 2 high safeties and rushing 4 guys and trying to keep everything in front of me.
That's when Mahomes has his down games, because down for him. Backs now.
His QBR is 95 against the blitz, and he's thrown 0 picks all season against the blitz. I would not be blitzing him at all.
Awesome.
I would not be throwing. Yeah, in my opinion.
I wonder. Tom Brady, I'm telling you, man, if you can not give up the middle sideline to sideline, which they did the first. Still, he did his first touchdown of the Bucs was. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, just end of the day, just like 43 team wasn't a complete.
Oh no, he was a top 5 quarterback in the league this year.
So freaking impressive. And now the whole, got there because of Belichick, or Belichick made that for me is completely 7-9 Bucs team. A more talented Bucs team.
I know for most people now.
I mean, I've always thought Tom Brady I wasn't like a Tom Brady hater, but definitely just keeps backing on to his greatness, even if he loses.
I mean, yeah, just the fact that he's been to the Super Bowl 10 times, I think, is wildly impressive.
This is the 55th Super Bowl. He's played in, what is that? I mean, 2 out of whatever. It's like almost like 18% of the Super Bowls. It's unbelievable what he's done. And yes, no, I was excited when him and Belichick split up, obviously, because now I didn't have to deal with that twice a year. But more so just because I really wanted to see which one of them was really the one behind it. And I think this year has really left no doubt on that, albeit Tampa's got a much better roster than New England. Brady's been nothing short of remarkable. One more note on the over. I know not everyone said this or answered the question, and we heard a couple. It is worth noting they did play in week 16, and despite having like 900 yards of offense between the two teams, they only scored 51 points. And the over is 56.5. And playoffs tend to be lower scoring games. So I'm with you, Ruby. I wouldn't want to bet the under just because that would suck if you're watching the game and it's an amazing shootout and you're mad about your lost money. But is worth noting that betting under 56, maybe not a horrible idea, just based off of what we saw just 8 weeks ago. So
look, I'm saying you put the most, if you're gonna bet, you bet responsibly, but if you do that, you bet a majority of the money you're gonna bet on the actual game, and then you put some money on the over, so you have something to root for. You have something else to kind of root for, especially if the other bet isn't going.
I'm with you. I was like betting the over. Life's too short to bet the under. All right, well, that's what we got for the Super Bowl prediction. Some passionate, dare I say, heated debate, but I know we're all excited. The only bummer, we got to wait 2 weeks for it. Silly rule with no Pro Bowl this year. But Senior Bowl's on Saturday. Dolphins are coaching. Panthers are coaching. Watch that one. Exciting. All right. Next topic, quarter season NBA awards. So I've got a bunch of them lined up for us, right? MVP, most improved, six-man, coach of the year, rookie of the year, defense player of the year, and your 5 first-team All-NBA players thus far. So I want to hear MVPs first. I've got Joel Embiid. Anyone else riding with me on that?
Will rock with you.
Impressive.
Easily rock with you on that. I will easily rock with you on that, Ryan. I'll let you talk about it if you want to first, because I'll back you up with whatever you say with even more statistics.
Oh, well, that would be terrific. That would be terrific. I'm just going to go very baseline stats here. He's averaging 28 points a game, 11.5 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and a block and a half per game, and a steal per game as well. 55% from the floor, 41% from three, which I think is by far the most impressive number that I've read off, and 83% from the charity stripe. He's been believable on defense, and offensively, he's always been a polished offensive player, but his efficiency is off the charts this year. He has Philadelphia at first place in the East. Doc Rivers is getting the most out of him. I think the biggest thing with JoJo is always staying on the court. He's out tonight just resting a back injury against the Pistons, who you don't really need to play starters against anyway. But he's played almost every game this year. He's already played 14 games. So I like where JoJo's at, and I think he's going MVP. Jacob Hart, tell me why I'm right.
He's clearly the most valuable player in the league right now. Like you said, those percentages you said with his field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and three are all career highs. To keep in mind, it's not like he's been doing that the past couple of years. He's improving on aspects of his game, and while his 3-point percentage is 40.5%, he's shooting less threes this year, playing a lot smarter. And I guess how Doc Rivers wants him to play, 5% from the field. But when him and Simmons play together, they're actually 11-1 this season. Very impressive to show how valuable he is to their team. They're 12-5 right now, so you can math how you will, but as a duo with him and Simmons, they're 11-1. I mean, he's clearly the most valuable player right now. I mean, you see it in how game. They need him in order to win. He's having a career season. Again, he averaged 7 points before, I believe. But this season, he's clearly made that huge impact on their team and really taken his game to the next level. So I've loved what I've seen from Joel Embiid. But again, I mean, it's a tight race for MVP this year. I'm interested in seeing what you guys have to say about your MVP campaign. I don't think it's Embiid right now.
I'll just go right now. I think Embiid. I looked at the stats today when I mean, of course it's eye popping. I think we're all 5 of us are men of numbers. If someone would like to agree with me, I think numbers. Men of numbers.
Yes.
Numbers have never done.
Numbers never lie.
Numbers never do lie. Okay, but I like to look. Digit. Okay, we'll go digit boys. But I like to look right now. I like to look at this. Okay, now I'll say this now. My MVP right now is Kevin Durant, and
that's fair.
And I mean, he's putting up numbers, 31 points a game. I don't know his RPG, APG. I'll look it up right now.
I got it right here.
Okay, appreciate it. So, I just think. I mean, he first of all, he came back from a season-ending injury. He's on the. I mean, the Nets were absolutely horrific. Well, not horrific, but they still made.
They made the playoffs last season.
Exactly, but they were the 8. They
didn't make the bubble. Like they did, but they didn't really.
No, it was
like,
support.
No one was ever scared of the Nets.
They made the playoffs.
But now, of course, there's Kyrie Harden there. But I think with the story going on, KD is arguably top 3 in the league right now, and the way he's been absolutely murdering other teams so far when he's active, just like JoJo hasn't been active that much. There's been spotty games, just like KD missed the second game against the Cavs. I think he's missed some others as well. But I mean, he's been KD, and I think if KD is balling like he usually does, he always deserves to be in the MVP conversation. And even if it's the quarter season award, I think what we've seen from him so far, he deserves to be in the conversation at least. And he's my MVP right now in this quarter season. Don't get me wrong, JoJo and Jokic, to be honest, are both very, very well-rounded. So far, so great. What's up, Rob?
What a segue for my MVP for quarter season.
Exactly. So
if you got anything,
like him a lot, but I both like him a lot, but I think KD right now gets my MVP vote. So, Rob, you can go.
As far as Katie's numbers, I promise I get those. 31.2 points per game, 7.2 rebounds per game, 5.8 assists per game, and he's 54, 48, 87 for shooting.
Isn't he averaging like two blocks a game as well, or something like that?
I don't
Close
have
to it,
that
block and a half,
stat
maybe?
right here, but
I think it's like a block and a half. Yeah,
sounds about right.
For data. All right.
And if we're talking about Jacob and Ryan's pick for MVP, I do want to also just mention that Joel Embiid finished 44th in the U.S. in competitive FIFA this weekend, and I don't understand how you do that as a playing NBA player, but that's neither here nor there. My MVP for the quarter season is going to go to the Joker. The one thing that's holding him back is the record, but as far as how he's playing, he's almost averaging a triple-double. He is 25.8 points per game, 12 assists, 12 rebounds, and then 9.6 assists. And he's shooting 56, 35, and 83 field goal percentages. It hasn't been done as a big man in forever that anyone's close to that type of stat line. I think that he is coming close to, if he can keep this up, I mean, he could come close to Russell Westbrook and Oscar Robertson with the averaging a triple double. If he can get one or two more assists per game, I think that's wildly impressive. And I think that the Nets as a whole, or the Nuggets as a whole, can kind of I mean, they're gonna be one of the top probably 4 seeds. I feel like they haven't changed that much, and I think that they have a good core that just keeps growing with him and Murray. So I like Jokic for the quarter season MVP.
Well, the irony here is pretty good because we just said numbers never lie. Jokic's numbers are unbelievable. My only argument with JoJo is defensively, he impacts the game so much, and that is the Joker's weakness, right? He's not super involved protecting the rim, even though he gets a lot of steals. But yes, Jokic and Embiid, I feel bad for them because only one center is going to make first team All NBA and stuff, and both of them have been arguably the 2 best players in the league this year. So glad you brought him up. Howard, you're our last MVP prediction.
Great answers. Honestly, convince me with arguments. You guys are such. I think you convinced me. I think I'm in on the Joel Embiid train. The only thing with Joel, I think suspect Ryan, you can obviously consistency not being it. Can he sustain this throughout the whole body of work? Obviously, this is quarter awards, and that's why I'm going with Joel. But I think that's the only issue with him is I don't know if he can sustain. Yeah, no, I would go Joel. Just to appreciate a shout out. Again, just I always want to point out that LeBron James always deserves at least a word in face of the league. So, shout out for his 24 points. Not the best numbers in comparison to the still, I think LeBron always deserves.
He does. He gets his token shout out. Glad you gave it to him. We're going to move on to most improved player. Guys, I'm very excited for mine. So I'm going to send a little clarifier here first. The person I want it to be is DeAndre Hunter. Shocking. I know, my favorite player. But unfortunately, second-year players virtually never win the award because everyone makes a big jump after the rookie year. So I'm going to go with the hometown hero himself, Jaylen Brown. He has been unbelievable this year. I know Tatum's missed some time with COVID, but Jaylen Brown is 6th in the league in scoring right now, which is such a jump from last year. He's scoring 27.5 points a game. He had 20 points a game last year. 6 rebounds, 4 assists, steal and a half a game. Shooting 53, 43, 78. That 43 number from 3 is really what stands out to me. But he has been consistently the best player on the Celtics. He's kept them alive without Jason Tatum. And I think there's a lot of guys in talk for MIP this year. I know Chris Boucher is someone you guys might bring. He's been awesome. But Jaylen Brown has taken a massive leap from, solid starting player in the league to all-star superstar status. So shout out to him. My MIP pick. Will Durham, who you got for MIP?
I'm glad you said me. I was about to interrupt and say he's mine too. Definitely ever since I saw him 360 or missed a 360 at Walton High School back in 2014. Definitely been following him. He's had a very successful NBA career, but he's absolutely balling this season. I mean, you said it all, 27 points per game. The Celtics are 9-6, and they didn't have Jaylen Brown playing like he is. They might be worse, to be honest. They've really had to lean on him these past couple of weeks with J-Tay out. Everyone knows J-Tay's the guy in Boston. They kind of lean on him, but now they kind of had another crutch. They've kind of forgot about you could say their second crutch in Jaylen Brown, and he's been absolute. Of course, I don't think it's gonna maybe continue when J-Tay's back in. I think the ball is definitely going to be in his hands a lot more. I think we all expect that. But if he keeps some of these numbers around 25 points per game, he's definitely in the conversation for end of the season. But for right now, quarter through the season, he's definitely MIP in my Jacob Harb, right next to me.
I really thought about Jaylen Brown. I mean, he is a hometown hero.
He is.
But, I mean, I feel like the easy choice right now is to go with Jeremy Grant. I mean, I know he has a different situation than Jaylen Brown because, granted, he was in the Nuggets last year. He's more of a role player in their offense with Jokic and Murray. But this year, I mean, granted, he is shooting 10 more shots per game than he did with the Nuggets from 8 shot attempts to 18 shot attempts. But he did make the jump. I mean, he's doubled his points. That can't go unnoticed. Granted, he's the number 1 option on the Pistons. But at the same time, it's a huge jump from 12 points per game to 24 points per game. But that can't really go unnoticed. I mean, he's going to be in the consideration for this award throughout the whole year. Granted, if his points do go down to 22 or 21 points per game, and this guy's not going to go unnoticed. I feel like at least he's going to points per game go up by 10 points from the year before. I mean, he is the number 1 option on the Pistons right now, which does help his case. Guys like Brown and Johnson and different like that, but he has doubled his points, and he's making a huge impact on the Pistons. I mean, they're a sorry team. He's been able to expand his game this year with them and become the number 1 option, which I think has been good for him. But Howard, you seem to agree. I might be able to let you talk about him or not.
I mean, you hit the context definitely matters, but it's still cool. A definition of kind of like a really raw potential German kind of dude. He's been in the league how many years? 14. So I mean, it's kind of cool. Obviously, Lund's team, but taking advantage of the opportunity and taking advantage of getting more shots of a less talented team. Yeah, like Harp said, like he's just going to be in the conversation the rest of the year. But yeah, no, I really like Jeremy Grant. Also, fine 2K. Well, play with on 2K, so I'll throw that in the vote of my choice. But yeah, that was mine as well.
All right, Rebelish, who you got?
I'm gonna go someone who's in a kind of similar situation as the Pistons, but not Grant. I'm gonna go with Christian Wood for most improved player. I mean, obviously, things in Houston have been, it's been a rough start to the year to say the least, with just all the chaos that they've kind of had to deal with. But if you look at Christian Wood's numbers this season, actually kind of crazy. He's averaging 23.5 points per game, 10 rebounds, and 1.8 blocks per game. He's shooting 52% from the field and 36% from 3. And I mean, he's kind of had to become one of the main guys in Houston now. with the departure of Harden. So I think that that's definitely something to watch out for in terms of most improved player for the quarter, and if he keeps it up, obviously the season.
Yeah, no, I like Christian Wood for sure, and you're right, definitely taking advantage of opportunity. But honestly, he took advantage of that opportunity at the Pistons last year too, so it's been awesome for him his last 2 seasons. Hopefully, he can keep it up. And Jeremy Grant, woof. If Pistons didn't have him, I'm not convinced they would have a single win yet this season. So he definitely has his hat in the ring. We're going to go to 6th man here, and I'm going to bring up a guy who, honestly, I thought someone might say for most improved player, but has definitely been, in my opinion, 6th man of the year so far, and that's Chris Boucher for the Raptors. I think he's leading the league in player efficiency rating, which is pretty incredible coming off the bench. But he's scoring 15 points a game, 7 rebounds, 2.3 blocks a game, which is second best in the league. He's shooting 57% from the floor and 48% from 3 at 6'11". So it's pretty amazing what he's been able to do in Toronto. As awful as Toronto has been this year, he's been their kind of, saving grace. So it'd be pretty cool for them. They could get two most improved players in a 3-year span between him and Spicy P a couple years back. But I think he's definitely got my vote for 6 man so far. Jacob Harp.
I would piggyback off that, actually. Yeah, he was my 6th man of the year after looking at this year that would qualify for that. I think it's important to see that the year before he was averaging 1.93 points. But he's increased his percentage from 3 from 30% last year to 48% this year, while shooting more threes this year. So I think it's important to look out for. Like you said, his field goal percentage, before it was 47%. This year it's 57%. They made that jump as a new option on the Raptors team. They had got him initially from the Warriors, but he has made that jump, averaging 4. Definitely giving them another element. Talent. He was considered a high prospect coming out of college for like a raw talent aspect with a high ceiling. So it's cool to see what he's doing over this past. I'd give him my vote right now for this season. I can hand it over to Will, who's next to me.
Thank you, Jacob, who's to the right of me. I'm going to piggyback off both of you guys, say Chris Boucher. Ryan, you're completely right. His PER, top of the league as a 6 man, kind of crazy, to be honest. He's not getting the minutes of a starter, still leading the league in PER. You guys said it all. He's just kind of been Toronto's kind of saving grace in this kind of dip of a season. Can't really piggyback off my Raptors anymore, sadly. I was a huge Raptors fan during the bubble. I know, sad days. So, exactly. But I also want to say Montrezl Harrell. I think he always is in the conversation. He won it last year, of course. And he went to the Lakers over the offseason. He's still getting valuable minutes and points for the Lakers off the bench. Lou Will and Montrezl always seem to be in this conversation. And I think he kind of deserves a little bit of credit. He's been balling for the Lakers. But Chris Boucher right now for me. So, Pastor, what are you thinking?
This is a tough one. I think I would also go Chris Boucher, but for the sake of mixing it up, I argue, if healthy, I would like to see Roderick as a. I think he's back. He's looking. Roderick also has a chance. Obviously, put he has a little bit of bug with it. But yeah, for the sake of argument, I think Chris Boucher is mine.
I think Chris Boucher's had a really good season so far. He definitely is someone who also could be on that most improved player list for sure. But my pick's going to be Jordan Clarkson for the Jazz. He's averaging 17 points this season. He's shooting ridiculously efficiently. He's 49, 41, 96. for his field goal percentage splits. And he's just been a good kind of like fill in when they need some scoring. His player efficiency rating, since we're kind of harping on that stat for Boucher, is his career is Jordan Clarkson's career high at 21.1 PER. So I think that he's definitely someone to look at. I think that the Jazz are playing really well right now, and I'm liking what they got going on.
Another solid 2K player.
So interesting that you bring up the Utah Jazz, because our next question is Coach of the Year. And for me, it's not even close. I mean, I guess Doc Rivers is my second choice, but Quinn Snyder, what he's done with Utah this year, they're 12-4. They're third place in the West. I usually don't watch enough games of the Western Conference to be able to make judgments. I've watched a lot of Jazz games so far this season. They've been on TV a lot. They are awesome, and they're really, really fun to watch. They have looked so good. Clarkson's been great off the bench. Spida's been unbelievable. Rudy Gobert is going to Rudy Gobert. Bogdanovic's been great. Conley's been great. They have been incredibly fun to watch, and they're only not even. They're half a game back, I believe, of the Clippers and the Lakers in the West. And I think that Quinn Snyder, the job he's done with them this year with pretty much the same roster. The roster really hasn't had much turnover at all. Pretty much same roster. What he's done has been nothing short of amazing. So hopefully they can redeem themselves after blowing 3-1 against Denver last year.
They are half a game back, by the way.
Half game? Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Ruby, who is your Coach of the Year?
I'm gonna rock with the Jazz pick. I like it. I think that they're in a good spot. I think that they've kind of used a lot of the fuel. They killed the Hawks the other day. So yeah, I mean, I think it's big things for them this year.
Honestly, your second choice because that Doc Rivers is in. Not saying it's a bad situation, but just going from the Clippers and going to the Sixers, I think it's impressive on its own to take a team to first in the East as it stands now at 12-5. And granted, like I said earlier with Embiid, when he plays with Simmons, they're 11-1. So I think they've played together, long and playoff run. I think it's impressive what he's done with them. Pulling them, Danny Green, Tobias Harris. As a unit, adding more shooting has obviously helped them a lot as a unit. So I like Doc Rivers right now, but again, Quinn Snyder cannot go unnoticed with the Jazz. As our unit, and I hope the Jazz honestly can make that next step. But as of now, I have to go with Doc Rivers. But I mean, that's going to be a tight race all year with how the teams out so far.
I love both of them. Great picks. I think Quinn Snyder's, they're both great head coaches. Doc Rivers is in a new place.
Yes.
You got to respect that for sure. I'm going to throw a curveball, and I'm going to say J.B. Bickerstaff for the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right. Now, the Cleveland Cavaliers have been the laughingstock ever since LeBron said see ya and went Hollywood. And all of a sudden, the Cavs are like in the middle of the East now. Like they're 6, 7, 8 seed. Colin Sexton's been absolutely balling. Darius Garland is looking okay. 6 seed. You got to look at coaching. I always love to look at coaching when I first judge a team. And JB, there's no other reason. JB has definitely found the formula in Cleveland. Now, here's the thing. I'm not guaranteeing they're going to be, going to keep this 6 seed throughout the season. They're 8-8. They're even, but they're battling with the Cavs right now. And maybe I have money on them to win outright. Maybe I don't. But
they're battling the Lakers. Yep.
I know they're battling. And so I love JB. The dark horse pick for sure, I think, is definitely going to be one of those two, but JB definitely has a faster.
So I'm noticing no one's saying
No.
Take you off the podcast.
Eventually, of course.
Considering, and one fired after the game of the season.
I also wanted
Still
him
want,
fired.
still want him fired. Still want.
I've actually wanted him fired since the end of last season.
Yeah, we're 8th seed right now.
For the 7th seed, actually.
7th seed.
Because the East is trash.
Yeah, I said like we're in the East. All good section. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Dark Rivers because I think twofold. I think
Yes, sir.
76ers change. That's what Doc's been able to. They're playing a lot better. You already emphasized Joel Embiid. I think a lot of that has buy-in from players and level. That's a thing. So yeah, my tip I have to. I always kind of thought Doc Rivers is a phenomenal coach, but he's proven his stripes. But yeah, no, I'll go with point.
All right.
I love the title Atlanta Veteran PG.
All right. Next, we're going Rookie of the Year. Will, I'm just gonna let you get going first, so we don't have to listen.
we
to
go.
it.
Here's the thing, folks. The Hornets were absolutely dismal. And they added 2 key pieces. Gordon Hayward, everyone's favorite white boy. And then we have LaMelo Ball. All right. LaMelo Ball, guys, if you're faithful podcast listeners, you guys know me and LaMelo are boys. All right. At least, you know, I'm a fan of his and I think he's a fan of me as a manager. So we're kind of mutual like that. I'm still waiting for the Instagram follow. But 11.4 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game. By the way, he got a triple-double against some team. I forgot who. Oh, wait, the Atlanta Hawks. So, you know, I think
Okay, I mean that's not really a high bar. Like,
it's a high bar. It's a high bar. They're the 8th in the East. What are you talking about? So
they're the 12 seed. The Hornets are the 12 seed.
yeah,
Sorry.
the Hawks are the 8th seed.
Yes, I'm there.
Seed. We just said the 7th seed.
Yeah.
Oh
Also
my
the 7th
gosh.
seed.
Give Lloyd his respect.
We're not going to do that. But here's the thing, LaMelo, he's absolutely balling. He's not living up to the hype just yet, but I also think he got a substantial amount where he's just going to be MVP first season. I think he's playing up to his standards. He can go only up from here. He can only go up from here, guys. His ceiling is the roof, as MJ would say. So, right now my ROI through the quarter, LaMelo Ball, he had a triple-double, guys. Come on, what are we talking about?
Yeah, Will, you said the only place he could go is up. The only place he can go is somewhere other than Charlotte, since he's already discontent with the Hornets after 15 games.
Hey.
He's allegedly privately already requested a trade. His dad has publicly come out and complained about his playing time. He's only playing 24 minutes a game. He can't get on the court above Devontae Graham because his coach says he turns the ball over 5 times every 16 minutes.
See what happens.
More turnovers. And so for my choice of Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go Tyrese Halliburton. This is unfortunate because I really wanted the Hawks to draft him, and Okongwu hasn't played enough, so who knows. But Halliburton's been cooking at shooting guard for the Sacramento Kings. He's played phenomenally well. He's shooting 47% from 3, 50% from the field, 80% from the stripe, averaging the same amount of points as LaMelo Ball is, and 5 assists a game as well. I think he's just been absolutely dynamic to watch. He has some reason he's just the clutchest player on the Kings, and in their albeit few wins this year, he has hit the key shots in all those games. I think Tyrese Halliburton has a great career ahead of him. Him and De'Aaron Fox are going to be studs together in that backcourt in Sacramento for a long time. So I want to know, does anyone else have my affinity for Tyrese Halliburton?
I was about to fully, go LaMelo Ball. I was fully in, and then I saw the video of him thinking that Detroit was a state earlier today, and that reminded me that I just can't say his Rookie of the Year. So I'm gonna go
Rookie of the Year because of geography quizzes.
Yeah, but it speaks to a larger point, which is that Tyrese Halliburton's been much better this season.
Oh my gosh, Ruby.
Yeah.
Ruby, we're not talking about basketball right now.
We're talking about
player. I mean, player efficiency. Player efficiency is leading all rookies at 17.8. He's shooting 47% from 3 and 50% from the field. 5 assists, 11 points. I mean, almost pretty much the exact same or pretty similar stat line to LaMelo, and he's not requesting a trade and not, he's
All right, but
turning the ball
okay,
over as much.
here's the thing with rookie. No. Here's the thing with rookie of the year. Okay, we're gonna say this now: is that we can't factor in. First of all, geography, which was just absurd that you mentioned that changed your opinion about his play on the court.
And it doesn't matter.
And no. And also that he's requested a trade. I get it that I get it. Requested a trade, that's a bad look, but it doesn't reflect
Okay, take those
his
both.
His stats don't reflect that he requested a trade. And so just because of that, just because of those two bad opinions,
take those.
Not going to be rookie of the year.
Digit boys here.
Take those two things away. Take those two things away. He still has a worse PER. He's still shooting worse from 3, and he's
It ain't stat line of the year. It's rookie of the year.
Yes.
Get out of here.
Boy, Halliburton helped the Kings because they're 10.
Kings are really good, right?
Both teams suck.
Oh, wait. Time out.
Both players.
Are we saying the Hornets are, incredible? The Hornets are 7 and 10. Sorry.
I think the
They have one more win.
Improved from last year. The Kings have not improved from last year. Kings have gotten worse. Hornets have gotten better.
So, hey Ryan. So, listen. If season ended today, definition of what we're doing. I'm going LaMelo Ball. I will say this.
Me too.
Ryan hit this point before the podcast, and I agreed with him. In the long run, in a 5-year span, who would I want more? Wiseman, LaMelo Ball, for example. I'm picking Wiseman day of the week. I think a lot of players. Of the reasons, personality, and he's like, it's like a 12-year-old that made a point guard on 2K on rookie. You know what I mean? He's trading 5 times a season. Gonna play for every team. Ask for a trade. Doesn't know that Detroit is a 6. So, yes, so I'm going Ball for that reason. Obviously, I don't think he's that phenomenal. That's my
Ball too. I mean, you guys had all the same points. Woody's take, Howard, your take. I mean, it's honestly is a tight race. I mean, both these teams are garbage. So not X. Obviously, they're 6 and 10, 7 and 10. So
screw you, Barb.
I mean, both teams suck. Let's just be real. But tight race between both teams. And both players, honestly. So I like LaMelo Ball here in this aspect. Obviously, he's not the most effective shooter, but his court vision is something that's special. I like Halliburton's court vision as well, but I'll go Ball here. But it's going to be a tight race. Not blown away by either player, honestly, right now, but in the long
I mean, the way the draft structure works, the best rookies never play for the good teams, right? That's the whole point. So I don't really look too much at one team being 7 and 9, one team being 6 and 10. The Kings are they worse than last year? Yeah, but did they also lose some key pieces like Bogdanovich? Yes, they did, right? And a rookie's not gonna be able to step in right away and fill that void. But I don't know. I think it'll be a fun race to look at. Edwards is actually leading all rookies in scoring, so who knows? Maybe he'll pick it up down the stretch, and Wiseman, you never know. So I think there'll be a lot of rookies out there to look at, but I'm glad we got those two. Last positional one, defense player of the year, Clint freaking Capella. Give it to me all day and every day, twice a week on Sundays. He's first in the league in rebounding. He's third in the league in blocks, and the strides he's helped Atlanta's defense make are nothing short of amazing. They're now a top 10 defensive efficiency team and points against team, which, I mean, looks like a far cry from a year ago. So I've got Capella for DPOY. Jacob Howard, what about you?
Outline. I got Embiid on mine just for the sake of improving cross on the. I think he's a. Yeah, that's who I had, but I could fully be convinced for a Hawk player. And Lloyd Pierce is just coaching them up really well. They're playing. Like that.
I feel like we can't disregard Miles Turner. I mean, he's averaging 4.2 blocks per game. I mean,
and 1.5 steals per game.
I feel like right now,
Turner's been awesome.
I feel like right now on the impact he's made on defense is absolutely crazy. I mean, I like that Pels average 2.3 blocks per game, but Turner averages 2 more blocks than him per game, and they make significant impact with that Pacers team and Turner's also improved a lot since he came out. Feeling that they thought they were going to get from him. So I like Turner right here just because, I mean, that's crazy. He's averaging 4 blocks per game so far into the season. But, boy, did you have a take?
No, I mean, it's Miles Turner. It's literally Miles Turner. I don't know why there's another argument. I love Clint Capella, Atlanta Hawk till I die, but it's literally like, guys, I don't think this is real. 4.2 blocks per game, 1.5 steals per game.
I'm saying.
I mean, this is like, that's kind of like, those are the most 2 important defensive stats, and he's dominating them. Not saying dominating the steal stat, but I mean, guys, he's a 4.2 blocks.
All right, so there's something I'd like to.
Whoa, what?
Something I'd like to bring up then. The question is, do you include defensive rebounding since it's such a big part of defense? Do you consider that when you're looking at DPOY? Because Miles Turner averages less than 7 rebounds a game at the center position.
Wait, really?
Less than.
I mean,
he averages 6.8 rebounds a game.
Yikes.
But Will, I'm saying, look, blocks and steals are important. Protecting rim. How good are you clamping up perimeter? Yes, those are all important. I didn't say that. I said the question is, do you also include rebounding? Because rebounding is a crucial aspect of it. Like, great, you can play great defense. You give up an offensive rebound and a second chance point. Who cares how good your block was, right? Like, he averages almost as many blocks as he does rebounds a game. So it's something you got to bring up. If you what?
It's Sabonis.
They got another big man down there, Rye.
That's great. I mean, we got John Collins on the Hawks rebounding as well. I mean, Hunter averages 7 rebounds a game. Like, there's other guys everywhere. That's not an argument. I mean, the point is Miles Turner is not a great rebounding big. So if you don't include that, yes, Miles Turner, absolutely. 4.5 blocks a game is unbelievable. That's probably only been done like 10 times in NBA history for an entire season. He's been phenomenal defensively. But if you include rebounding, which again, I don't know if you do, I'm just asking if you should, that is a huge difference.
I say I look at
Now,
that stat.
for the first.
Yeah, okay, go Ruby. Yep.
Sorry, for the first time in this podcast tonight, I think that all the roomies are in agreement. I think it's Miles Turner. I think Jacob gets his Texas boy. And I think that Miles Turner, I mean, yes, 4 blocks a game is ridiculous. 1.5 steals per game, ridiculous. I think if we're looking, as we've yelled about multiple times, at the quarter season stats, I mean, I think that it's pretty clearly Miles Turner. And I think that, you know, I think that I remember that a couple of Capella's blocks came in the game the other night when he had 10, which is wildly impressive and shouldn't be discounted. But I feel like that, you know, average might be a little thrown off.
He had 5 yesterday, or not yesterday, last week.
Look, he's really good. I'm a big Clint Capella fan. I want Clint Capella to succeed. I'm happy that he is succeeding. I think that it's Miles Turner. I think that if you look at some of the other stats, he like the plus minus, his defensive plus minus is leading the league, and I think that's something you can look at. I think you can point out the fact that only 12 players are averaging more steals, and he's playing from the center position, which I feel like is not generally the most, you know, doesn't generally have the most steals, and I think it's pretty clearly Miles Turner.
Yeah, Miles Turner's definitely got a great argument. Happy you guys are all in agreement for the first time ever. But all right, well, the last one we got for the NBA before we move on to college hoops. First team all NBA. I don't want any stats here. Just give me your 2 guards, your 2 forwards, and your forward/center. Who you got for first team all NBA so far this year? Ruby, get us started.
Well, I'm gonna go with definitely. I'll probably go Joel just for the defensive. I know I said Joker earlier, but probably Joel for the defensive. I'm gonna go KD for the 3 spot. I'm kind of going all over the place. I think there's a case to be made that Jaylen Brown right now is playing really, really well as the
Absolutely case. Yep.
2. So I think that that's definitely consideration. I don't know who else I would kind of put in there other than him right now. As far as the point guard, I'd probably go Steph, just because it's been really good this season, and his team is not necessarily, been that great. And I'm gonna go Anthony Davis, round it out at the 4.
Gotcha. Well, I'll go ahead and say this before everyone else goes. Reminder: you don't have to have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? It can just be 2 guards, 2 forwards, and then a forward/center in terms of voting purposes. So, yes, Jaylen Brown's been the best 2 guard in the league so far this year. But if I'm picking 2 guards, I'm going to go with Lillard and Doncic or Lillard and Curry, right? So I'll say Lillard and Doncic at my guard positions. I've got Durant and Giannis at the forward positions, and Embiid at center. But I think Jaylen Brown and Kawhi and Jokic all should definitely be honorable mention and could definitely be on that list. Again, so far, do I think Jaylen Brown's going to sustain that once Tatum comes back again? No, probably not. But definitely worth throwing his name in so far. But Jacob Howard, who you got?
I got. I'm gonna go Steph, Luka for my 80.
I got 4 of those 5, like you, Howard. But I'd go for me. I go Dame instead of Luka. But I got Steph, Dame, LeBron, KD, Embiid for my 5. Boyd, he can finish it out for his NBA as well.
Jacob's kind of reading my mind tonight, folks. Steph, Dame, LeBron, KD, Embiid.
All right.
5 right there.
Love it. No Giannis love, no Kawhi love, but that's all right. Like those.
That scares me.
All right. Well, we'll move on to the last topic. This one should be pretty quick. I don't know if we'll have enough stuff to debate here yet, but I want to hear, like I said, 46 days till Selection Sunday. Who you think the Final 4 will be right now? Obviously, you don't know tournament bracket and how many teams are even going to be going to Indianapolis, whatever. I did read today, actually, before we go. The NCAA lost $600 million last year by not having a tournament. So, yeah, it'll be happening this year because otherwise they'll be down over $1 billion. But I'll get the ball rolling. I hope you guys don't have to have this, but I hope you guys all have Gonzaga, Baylor, and Michigan. For me, hands down, Villanova's rated above Michigan for some reason, whatever. I think Gonzaga, Baylor, and Michigan have been the 3 best teams in the country so far. And I don't think that if you asked me to pick if I think one of those 3 will win it versus the field, I think I would take one of those 3. And then, my last pick, who I'm going to go with, Wahoo Wah, University of Virginia Cavaliers. Awful loss to San Francisco at the beginning of the year. Don't get me wrong. But other than that, we're now 11. We're 11-1 other than that, and our one loss would be to Gonzaga. We're now 7-0 in ACC play. We just absolutely embarrassed Syracuse on ESPN this evening after they just beat the tar out of Virginia Tech. So I like how the boys are playing. This is Tony Bennett's probably his best offensive team ever, which is saying something after the national championship team. But I'm going to just try to wish into existence that we will be that 4th team, even though I do not think we will beat any of those 3 teams. But Jacob Hard, your Final 4.
Yeah, like similar with you, I got Gonzaga and Baylor. I got to go with my boys, Texas, of course. I mean, this is the year. I mean, they choke in March Madness every year, but they got a really good team this year all around. I mean, Shaka Smart got COVID today, so I hope he recovers from that. But they've been playing really well this season, getting one of the best high school players in the nation, and Greg Brown coming on the team. Matt Coleman, Andrew Jones, Courtney Ramey. They've had a great team this year. But I'm also going to go with my 4th team. I'm going to go with Iowa. I mean, started the year off super hot.
Okay.
Put them as with my team over Michigan. I love Michigan. It's hard to go against them, but I feel like when it comes down to the experience that Iowa has come March Madness, I think it's a factor with basketball, with Luka Garza and just how they're going to be able to be fundamental team and sound, and be able to maybe cut some teams up this for this March Madness. So I like Iowa as a 4th team. Final 4 predictions, pretty early, but I don't know what Boydie has to counter that to go against our college basketball knowledge.
I think Gonzaga and Baylor are great teams. I think those are. I love Gonzaga and Baylor. I'm concerned, and I know this is a stupid concern. Michigan. I think it's worth noting that Michigan just shut down all athletics for 2 weeks.
True.
How many COVID tests they got? I don't know. We don't know what the bracketologists are gonna take that in consideration as with their field. Are they gonna put them as? Ruby. Whoa.
I was gonna just contribute to your point.
Okay, well, don't now. So I think Gonzaga, Baylor, and I think Wisconsin is a team that should be mentioned. I think
didn't they get wiped by Michigan twice?
That's all right. I think Wisconsin shoot the piss out of the ball. And I think they're definitely in consideration as one of those elite teams. I think they can be a 3 or 4 seed that can kind of make it out of the forest. And then also Villanova's every year seems to be just very, very well rounded. I think they have another great squad this year. Those are my 4. But also last podcast, as one of my hot takes, I said a double-digit seed would make the Final 4. And I want to give you guys 2 teams to watch out for that are right now 10 seeds in the Joe Lunardi bracketology. BYU, because they have that one big guy who is just insane. I forgot his name because I didn't write it down. Bad research on my part. Them, and then undefeated Drake. Me and Jacob have personally gone to their arena ourselves and experienced the wildness that they present to college basketball. They can also shoot the piss out of the ball. They have a great big. That's all you pretty much need to beat anyone in the nation. And so those are 2 teams to look out for if you're looking at some upsets in your brackets, as long as they perform well throughout the season. There you go.
Love it. Jay Howe.
I'm surprised Kansas State didn't get.
That was hurtful.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next. Yeah, I think I'll follow everybody in line. Gonzaga, Baylor. Although I prefer Villanova, but my 4th, Brian Kelly, wanted to put Houston. I was going to put my Florida State's on a hot streak right now. We're turning gear around. We're finding an identity after my talent this last draft. Got a good feeling about team stuff out in the tournament because we played a lot of defense, not a lot of offense, and that throws a lot of teams off. Except for Virginia, which is always the ugly. But
the most beautiful game.
It is.
I love it.
The 30.
Love it. All right, Ruby, finish us off with your 4.
Yeah, I think that I wasn't going to put Florida State in, but Pastor kind of swayed me. We're going full homer on this because, Baylor's getting in here too. But that one I think is probably a little bit more chalk than Florida State. But so I'll do Gonzaga, Baylor, Michigan, Florida State. I do want to point out that Gonzaga has not actually faced a ranked opponent, and Baylor beat a top 10 opponent, and they're still ranked 2nd. So, I feel like that's something that could be like...
What are you talking? Gonzaga beat Iowa. They beat Virginia.
I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Really?
Looking at the wrong thing. But still, I think that Baylor should be at 1.
Looking at the women's volleyball schedule. Come on. What are you doing?
Kansas, Virginia, Iowa, Virginia.
Luckily, no one probably gets to this point in the podcast.
Let's not forget Northern Arizona.
All right. Well, that's okay.
So watch very little college basketball.
Last things last, we got some fire breach shots. Rub, since you're on a roll right now, send me a fire breach shot.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna go. My Firebreed shot is gonna be that Donovan Mitchell uses the inspiration from Shaq to become the MVP this season.
Love that.
He's got a. There, he's got a little bit of work to do, but I think that that exchange was pretty good, and I think that it could motivate him to higher goals.
Beautiful. Howard. All right, Howard, go for it.
Howard. You said Howard.
I want Howard to go, and then we'll go hard.
I'm gonna go with football.
No, hard blast.
We got a lot of good quarterbacks. Moving teams on this offseason. That's why my bold prediction: Matt Stafford will be quarterback for the San Francisco. But
Can we get a prediction?
Hey, ante it up. Ante it up. Put Stafford and the Niners in the Super Bowl.
Oh, dude,
But
honestly,
can we get a Jimmy G
though,
prediction? Does he come back to New England?
he's gonna get.
Detroit, you heard it here first.
Going to Detroit. The guy's
Breaking news.
some kneecaps, baby. Gonna fight some kneecaps. That's mine.
Oh, jeez.
Will.
Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna go. I've been watching this whole podcast. Jay and I have been watching Texas Tech, West Virginia. One of my favorite players in the nation is Mac McClung, the transfer from Georgetown. Has absolutely been putting up buckets, including a game winner against my ginger friend Texas Longhorns.
It was tough to watch.
Tough to watch for sure. And so I'm gonna say he finishes. The odds are not in his favor, but I think he's going to finish top 2 in Naismith College Basketball Player of the Year.
Wow.
I think.
Why not just say he's going to win it? Why not just say he's going to win it?
No, win. Come on.
Well, here's the thing: is that the odds are out, and he's not even on the board.
You're not taking a shot. That's what I see right there.
I'm taking a great shot. I think Garza is like I think he, no matter if he puts 0 points or if he only puts up 9 points a game for the rest of the season, he's still going to win it. So I think right now I put him at 2. Maybe I'll put him at 1. If someone can convince me, if someone wants to piggyback on me, how about that?
Can't do that.
Exactly. So I'm going to put him at 2 right now. But again, he's not even on the odds. He's been absolutely balling, especially in this game that I'm watching right now. And you know what? I've been following him since he put that mixtape up his junior year of high school. And he's absolutely insane. So, Jacob Hart.
Oh man, I gotta go back to the Super Bowl. I'm taking a big hot take. I'm saying Devin White's gonna win the Super Bowl MVP. He's gonna get one of those sacks, strip sack, fumble recovery for the touchdown.
That's a shot.
And he is gonna end up winning Super Bowl MVP. And I mean, we all know this isn't gonna happen, but hey, one of those rare blitz plays by the Bucs. Devin White, Mahomes buries him. Strip sack, fumble to the end zone. Devin White has a career game, wins MVP of the Super Bowl. Bucs win it all.
Man.
Over.
Before I get to mine, I love that one. And Devin White, freaking what a Pro Bowl snub that guy was. He had 140 tackles and 10 sacks this year. What a snub. It was insulting. JPP made the All-Star Pro Bowl game. And Devin White did not. I'm triggered. Anyway, love that one. Mine will go back to earlier in the podcast. Jaylen Brown is going to win the scoring title this season. Very excited about that for him.
Wow.
He's currently 6th. Will it get more difficult with Tatum back? Absolutely. But I think that 2 of the biggest threats as always are Harden and Durant. And with them playing on the same team and also with Kyrie, I don't think that they will be in the running for it. And so I think that'll open it up to someone else. And Luka passes so much. So I don't know. I'm not set on this, but I think Jaylen Brown is going to find some way to win the scoring title at roughly 2.5 points per game. So there's my fire break shot.
Big Jaylen Brown episode.
Big Jaylen Brown episode. I have to rep.
Town hero.
Proud of him. Also, always bet the over prop on him because he hits it every single game. So
we'll be back after the.
Yeah.
We'll be back after the Super Bowl.
Next time we record, we will know who was right. about the Bucks Chiefs.
About the thing.
By the way, Jalen Brown has 23 points, and there's 3 minutes left in third quarter, and his prop's 25 for the game. You guys are welcome for the free money. All right, that's it.
My lord.
See you guys next time.
For Ruby.